talk about it after.
Whatever, I mean, no pressure. This is the question.
I don't want to be inflexible with requests. Hi, Tamara. Hi, Brian and Linda. Hi, Jean. It's my regulars on the online. Welcome to the Wednesday Loving Kindness Meditation. My name is Alex. It's wonderful to be here with you tonight, as it is every Wednesday night that we do this meditation. If you're online, remember to say hello. We have a few people who said hello already. And for the people here in the live audience tonight, can I get a show of hands? Anyone first time Dharma Bum Temple? First time at Dharma Bum Temple? Awesome, welcome. And did she bring you here? Or your friend brought you here and your friend brought you here? Okay, awesome. Is there anyone here who this is not your first time to the Dharma Bum Temple, but it is your first time to Wednesday, the Loving Kindness Meditation? Awesome. Very good. Thank you for coming. Really appreciate it. So we had a request. And that I'm going to honor. And I'll talk about that in just a little bit. So for our new people and new to Wednesday people, the word that we're talking about, that we talk when we talk about loving kindness, is metta. And loving kindness isn't really a great translation of that word metta, but it's the one that we have that most people are familiar with. And so when this word metta from 2,500 years ago in the Pali language, which is the language we're pretty sure that's pretty close to what the historical Buddha spoke, when this word gets translated into English 2,500 years later, it can mean a lot of things. It could mean like loving kindness, unconditional friendliness, goodwill. And goodwill is a really good word because we're going to do a more traditional kind of loving kindness meditation tonight. And goodwill is a really good word because when we're doing this practice, let's say for the enemy, loving kindness doesn't come tripping off the tongue really well. But you can have goodwill for somebody. You could just want them to not be harmed. That's okay. But it's also really just a wish to be happy. A wish for ourselves to be happy, a wish for others to be happy, and a wish for ourselves and others to do the things that cause happiness. And if you know the motto of the Dharma Bum Temple, you know what causes happiness. All right, the motto of the Dharma Bum Temple is think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds. That's it. Super, super simple. And that phrase doesn't even come from Buddhism, but it is what we kind of use here as kind of our motto because it kind of so wonderfully encapsulates what we're trying to do. These things cause happiness. Thinking good thoughts, speaking good words, doing good deeds. Hi, come on in. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to read the Metta Sutta or Metta Sutra. A sutra or a sutta is just a teaching. They say sutta in the Pali language. They say sutra in Sanskrit. Pali is just a dialect of Sanskrit. They're very similar. And so these are the Buddha's own words on loving kindness from 2,500 years ago. He says, "This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud or demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove, wishing, in gladness and in safety, may all beings be at ease. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short, or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another. Even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness, one should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding. By not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into this world. Isn't that beautiful? And so these are the Buddha's instructions, not really only just for practice, but our life. Let's try to live our lives in this way. And if we could hold this recollection in our hearts as we go about our day, we'll probably be doing really, really good. But we practice, and we do this loving kindness practice so we can practice for the rest of our day. Right? That's how I like to look at practice. If you meditate once a day, does anybody have a daily meditation practice? Okay, a couple people, that's good. If you don't, it's good to start one. No pressure. But it is good to start one. And you'll see with sustained practice, you will be more loving and kind in your thoughts, in your words, in your deeds, if you hold these recollections in your heart. And there's so much I get out of this every time I read this. And I don't read this every Wednesday, but, every 3 or 4 Wednesdays or something like that. And I wanted to kind of share this part. Radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upward to the skies and downwards to the depths. So there's a traditional way that we do it, which we're going to do, that I don't normally do. And we'll get into that a little bit later, probably after the meditation. And this is a kind of a standard way that this is taught. So the idea is you start with what should be the easiest, having loving kindness for yourself. So the person who's closest to your heart, which is you, right? So you start there. And then you go out just a little bit to the loved one, right? Or what we call a benefactor. And a benefactor is anyone who has shown us great love or great kindness, someone that's really easy to have these feelings for. So like a mother, father, brother, sister, best friend, not a romantic partner, but because that comes with a lot of baggage a lot of times, but anyone else, fair game. And if you can't think of a person, can you think of just a kind act that you received from somebody? And then we're going to go out a little further from our heart and think of a neutral person. And this is a person who you don't have any thoughts about one way or the other. You don't like them, dislike them. You think of this person, they're just kind of neutral to you. So this would be like maybe your mail carrier, the checkout person at the grocery store, the barista who gives you some coffee, anybody like that. And then we're going to do it for what we call the enemy. And so even though I say the enemy, and that is what we call it in Buddhism, the enemy is someone you have difficulty with, obviously. And the instruction here is to don't go for your mortal enemy. No mortal enemies. I know there's that one person, for most, if not all of you, that one person who you just cannot stand, that you hate, that you despise, but try not to go for that person. We like to start with the little things. We like to start with things that we know that we can do. Right? So it doesn't make the practice so overwhelming and so difficult. Right? And then after the enemy, we're going to do this for all beings. You see, in Buddhism, we take the strategy of the heart having this limitless quality, having the ability to have loving kindness, to have compassion for all beings in all directions. Whatever beings they may be, it doesn't matter. We have this capability, or we have this potential, I should say. It's there. We may not be able to feel it right now, but we have it. And so that's kind of the standard progression that I don't normally do, but we're going to do it since we have the request, and then we're going to talk about it. I want to talk about it. So this is a good opportunity for a little bit of a conversation, and part of that's going to be asking you some questions. So that'll be good. Hi, Donovan. Sorry. All right. So are there any questions before we start? Is anybody new to meditation? Okay, so we'll dispense with the seated instructions. All right, you folks ready online? Ready to go? All right. Oh. Stopwatch. All right, let's go do this, guys. Oh, before we start, I'm going to be guiding this meditation, so if you're wondering what to do, I'll let you know in the meditation. So just allow your eyes to close, making sure you have that seated position that's nice and comfortable for you, nice and sustainable, so you're not likely to move around and get distracted too much. And when we sit like a Buddha. And you can even imagine yourselves as a Buddha sitting underneath your own tree of enlightenment, and it could be any kind of tree you want. Each Buddha has their own tree. It's just a wonderful visualization we can do while we're meditating, or a nice thing to think about. And so before we start our formal practice of loving kindness meditation, let's just get connected to the breath. Let's just take a deep breath all the way in and all the way out. Not forcing the breath, letting it be quite easy and quite natural. Focusing your breath at the base of the nostrils, feeling the air go in and out as you breathe. And when we do this meditation, we always want to have about 25% of our attention on the breath. So we don't get distracted too much with our meditation. It's a really good way to kind of ground yourself in what's going on right now. Just feeling the breath go in, following the breath out. So we'll do this just for another few moments. So just for the next few moments, just rest as gently as you can in the sensations of the breath. And so to begin our practice of meditation, we're going to start with ourself. Because if you can't have loving kindness for yourself, if you don't have that experience of loving kindness in your own heart, it's really difficult, if not impossible, to have loving kindness, real loving kindness for someone else. So we're going to charge our battery with this. And there's a couple of different ways we can do it. You can just radiate loving kindness to yourself. Or if you want, you can repeat phrases of loving kindness for yourself. Phrases like, may I be happy. May I be safe from inner and outer danger. May I be well in body and mind. May I be at peace and live at ease in this world. And you can use one or more of these phrases, or you can even use your own phrase of your own devising, so long as it has a loving and a kind intention behind it. If you only just want to say, may I be happy, that's fine. So it's really helpful, if you want to put your hand over your heart while you're doing this, to feel for any resistance of giving yourself loving kindness. And if you run into any resistance, that's okay. Can you then just breathe into it and direct the out-breath to those areas of tension? And it always helps to smile. Smiling always helps, so you can do that too. It's highly recommended. I know this part isn't easy for everybody, but it is the most important, and so we try our best. We try any strategy we can to wish ourselves loving kindness. And so we'll do this for the next few moments. Now shifting our focus now from loving kindness for ourselves to loving kindness for a benefactor. And again, a benefactor is anyone who has shown us great love or great kindness. So it's really easy to have these feelings for. Just think about their own wish to be happy. In your own wish for them to be happy and to do the things that cause happiness. And all you have to do is either just radiate loving kindness to them, and however you understand that word radiate, or just repeat phrases of loving kindness for them. The same ones you used for yourself, you can do it for them. You can have one benefactor, you can have two or more. They can be living, they can be not living. There's a lot of flexibility here. So for the next few moments, we'll do this practice of metta, loving kindness for our benefactor. Smiling is still helpful here, as it is for the whole practice. And now shifting our focus again, really kind of exploring this difference between self and other by doing this practice for a neutral person, a person you don't know very well. We talked about what this person might be. You don't have any particular opinion about them one way or the other, or as little as possible. And just like you, they want to be happy too. So we wish them happiness. And we wish that they do the things that cause happiness. And we radiate loving kindness to them. And however you understand that word, or you repeat phrases for them. So for the next few moments, we'll do this practice of loving kindness for our neutral person. And now, shifting our focus again and going further away from our heart is the enemy. And the enemy is anyone you have difficulty with. And again, it's really best just to focus on someone you only have a little bit of difficulty with. Whether it's that slightly annoying person in the office, or that relative who just gets on your nerves, or something like that. Let's not go for the mortal enemy. There's no cause for that yet. We start small. We start with what we know that we can do. And we think about this person, and we just have in our mind this translation of metta called goodwill. It doesn't have to be love or anything else, or friendliness. It could just be goodwill. I just wish that you don't get harmed. And that you do the things that cause happiness, because they'll cause happiness for you and for others. Instead of this tension that I normally experience with you. So now we'll do this practice for the enemy. And finally, now we can explore this limitless quality of the heart by doing this practice for all beings in all directions. Whatever living beings there may be, the great, mighty, medium, short, or small, those near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded. We explore this potential for the limitless quality of the heart by wishing love and kindness for just as many people as you can, as many beings as you can. And we'll do that to end this practice. So just open your eyes when you're ready. Just making sure that you stretch your arms and stretch your legs, keeping that mindfulness of loving kindness about you while you do so. We'll do this for like a minute. Then we'll begin. If you have any questions, now's the time to think of any if you have them. We'll get to that in just a minute. Oh, that was good for me. Hopefully that was good for you too. It doesn't have to be though. If it's not, that's fine. And so this is traditionally the way loving kindness is taught. The thought is that it's easiest to have loving kindness for yourself because you're closest to your own heart, right? And then the benefactor, and then the neutral person, and then the enemy, going further away from your heart in this kind of progression that really makes a whole lot of sense. And so if you pretty much go anywhere else here, that's probably the way they're going to teach it. With there's some variation, but essentially that's the idea, and that's how they're going to do it. And I've talked about this a lot over the last month or two, and so I don't want to belabor the point too much, but we really hate ourselves in this culture because we're trained to hate ourselves, and that's why having loving kindness for yourself doesn't really come really that easy. It's not the easiest. For many people, it's the hardest, or not as easy as it should be. And so I just kind of do a modified way of doing it. I don't even include the neutral person or the enemy, not because it's not important or that we shouldn't do it, but because it's not what we should really focus on. I've said it several times. If we did nothing but loving kindness for ourselves for 7 to 10 years, we would be doing ourselves a great service for ourselves and for others. Because then that loving kindness would just naturally spill on to other people. It would come so easy because loving kindness for ourselves would then be so easy. But doing this kind of traditional way is fine too. I'm not saying that it's not good. I mean, when I first got the request, what was your name? Katie? Katie. When Katie first asked me, I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. Then I thought about it, and then said, I think I just talked myself into it. Why not?
Your way is also great too, because it is hard to give to yourself first.
Yeah.
So you usually, or when we've attended, you do your benefactor, then your benefactor to you, and then yourself, right?
Right.
And you take more time to that way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's helpful as well.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And but yeah, this way is fine too. This is good, especially if you've never been done this before. How I led it is essentially the same way. If you'll go to some other place, that's kind of how they do it.
Well, I like the enemy part just because we're all suffering so much that we're impatient with everyone. The person that cut you off in traffic, or,
right?
Just all of these insignificant people.
Right.
When you think of the enemy, just like you're saying, not someone that's super deeply maybe hurt you, but just the everyday sort of hot buttons that trigger you, and that's, I feel like, a good feeling, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like, again, it's good to start small like that. So I'll ask the question, was there anyone, like when we were doing this practice for the enemy, who actually did just go for the mortal enemy? It's okay if you did. Yeah, sure. Yeah, happens all the time. Happens all the time. And that's okay. We're humans at the end of the day, right? We're humans, and that's just kind of where our thoughts go sometimes. I guess you're thinking like I could go to like for me, there's this guy I used to work with. He's probably more of a minor enemy, but not like a mortal enemy. That just annoy the crap out of me all the time. And I just kind of did it for him, because where I work now, I mean, I get annoyed at people, but it's hard to think of any of them as the enemy. I work in like a really small company, like 11 people, and you can't have any animosity in a group that small, and we don't. So, yeah, so that's kind of how it works with me. And so, yeah, that's normal though, just to go for the mortal enemy, even though I say not to. It's okay. So, was any part? This is for anybody online as well. So, yeah. I feel like I felt like I could open my heart more to those I have difficulty with. Oh, good. Thanks, Brian. So, yeah, I mean, if you, and I think it actually is good to do it like the modified way for a while that I do it, and then try the neutral person and try the enemy and see if there's a difference. So, is there anyone who felt okay with the neutral person and the enemy doing that? Felt okay about that? Yeah, nice, good, perfect. Because that's important that we get there eventually. I don't omit it because it's not useful. Of course it is. Yeah, I think I just like doing it kind of my modified way, but it is good to do it, just kind of change it up every once in a while. Just good kind of do it the standard way, just to see, just as like a litmus test. Say, well, how is this now? All right. Yes.
I don't know who suggested it. It was several years ago, and I was in a meditation, and the instructor suggested something, and I did, and it's wonderful. Practice metta on any of the human beings that you're in contact with. So as I'm walking to work, and there may be somebody next to me, and they say, may he or she be free from pain and suffering. I'm on an elevator with total strangers. I may think of a meditation towards that person. Somebody who's just passing by. So I am glad that this was suggested, because it's wonderful.
And kind of what you described is meaning just passing people on the street, or being in the same elevator as you, or is called on the spot metta. It's just on the spot metta. Oh, you see somebody and you just think, may you be happy. May you be well. You see, anybody. You see a whole lot of people on the beach. May you all be well. Watching the news, may you all be well, because you're probably going to need it the way, the news doesn't show you wonderful things most of the time. Or you're in Starbucks, may you all be well. All that stuff. It makes you feel so good. It just feels so really, really, really good. Absolutely.
Metta on the spot.
Huh?
Metta on the spot.
On the spot metta. On the spot metta. I didn't make that up. That was Pema Chodron. I think she coined that. It's rare that I would make something up that's original in Buddhism. Because, look, I thought about writing a meditation book for like 8 seconds, and then I thought, what more am I going to add? I mean, they have meditation books by meditation masters, and we have the sutras, and we have all these ancient texts, not just like in the Theravada tradition, but the Tibetan tradition, the Mahayana, different Mahayana traditions, Zen, and the Tibetans, and Sri Lankan, and Burmese, and Thai, and all these different things. Like, what? I just think, what am I going to add to this? I probably can't add a whole lot of anything. So. I don't try to. I don't need to. There's so much wisdom out there already that yeah, you can just absorb that. That's fine. There's so much. There's so much there. I get asked. It's been a while since I've been asked. Like, what books can I read to get me familiar with Buddhist practice? And there's just so many. There's so many. I can't even tell you how many there are. There's so many. Just pick one. It's probably going to be okay. Go Intro to Buddhism book, and then you pick one of those. They have a ton of books down in the bookstore, and you can go there like between 6 and 7. Like, this class starts at 7, and you can go there between 6 and 7. The store is open. And I think it's open till 3 as well, like from 12 to 3. And like, there's a class tomorrow, and so tomorrow it'll be open, I think, from 12 to 3 and from 6 to 7 or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. Okay. Anyone else have any? Either it could be a question, it could be, I'm always interested to know what your experience of meditation is. Jean said the office enemy felt helpful. Yes, we always have an office enemy. Yes.
Until I brought myself back during the meditation of loving kindness of yourself, I started wondering if, how do you do that without getting the ego involved? If that makes sense, because you're giving yourself something that could potentially be grabbed onto the ego fairly easily and say well, I should be kind to myself because of this or this, when really isn't. I mean, to me anyway, a lot of the practice of meditation is to let go of that ego. So I found myself in a little bit of a paradoxical, Hobbesian type thing, where doing good actually is ego driven and not really that good type thing, I guess. So I was just wondering if you ever encountered that.
Well, then you ask yourself, why are you being good?
Yeah.
For recognition, for some ego-based, some validation, or whatever that might be. And is that why we're asked to be good? Is that why we practice this? And no, that's not why we practice it. Why do we do this? Because 2 reasons. 2 main reasons. 1, being good leads to happiness. These are things that cause happiness. And so that's what you think about. Think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds. These things cause happiness. And I can test this out for myself by doing these things, saying these things, thinking these things. And they don't have to have a reason to do them. Like a self-serving reason. Because a lot of people, they don't like to do loving kindness for themselves because they think it's selfish. And it is selfish. But in Buddhism, there are 2 kinds of selfish. There's a skillful kind of selfish, which means it's helpful to you, and it leads to the end of suffering. And there's the unskillful kind of selfish that's just self-serving. And you're doing it for some other ulterior motive. You have some ulterior motive for doing it. Validation, cred, whatever. And we see this a lot, especially on social media. People filming themselves giving money to poor people, or all these different types of things. And I watch these things and I'm going, well, thank you very much for doing this, but you don't have to film it. You don't have to film it. It's not required. to get your user base or your followers, to get more followers, And so, and the second reason that you do this, other than it causes happiness, is it leads you to, it causes kind of like what we call right understanding or right view, right? So right understanding is the first of the Noble Eightfold Path, which is the Buddha's path to enlightenment. It helps us gives us this wonderful, solid foundation of understanding why we're doing what we're doing. And it gives us a whole lot of wisdom. There's a lot of wisdom in this. This is the wisdom aspect of the path, or part of the wisdom aspect of the path, which is right understanding. And when you see that the things that you're doing are causing you happiness, which means other people are going to be happy too, because they're not going to, absorb any negativity from you or anything like that. So it's causing them happiness indirectly as well. Right? But yeah, it's normal for that to happen. Like, why am I doing this? Am I being selfish? That was a big one. Am I being selfish? Yeah. The skillful kind of selfish. Yes. Okay, hold on. Yeah, sorry. So that was Tamara, and she was saying she's doing much better, and she's not saying things like "you fucking idiot" every time she makes a mistake, which I still do on occasion. And that's all right. That's not a problem. Those occasions are far less than before. And you find yourself being nicer to yourself when you do something that's wrong. It's not, I did something wrong and you call yourself a effing idiot or you're so stupid or that kind of negative self-talk. That gets less. That gets a lot less. And it just makes you happier because you're not really clinging on to these negative thoughts. Oh, this isn't touchscreen. Good God. Okay. I had to show it. Okay. Tamara said the F word, so I think that's why it didn't show automatically. That's okay. I swear all the time. Swearing's okay. Anything else before we go? Oh, you guys, it's been awesome. Thank you so much. Again, hope you all got something out of this. Let's just join our palms together at our hearts, please. And may the benefits of this meditation, this discussion, be received by all beings. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be joyful and at ease. May all beings be happy. May all beings be loved and seen for the beautiful, radiant beings that they are, that you are. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you next time. Have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday and your week. Be safe going home. Bye, guys. Hello, 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 goodbye. Thank you.